Alright, this would be the video for Monday, August 26th. Equations with variables on both sides. Now this is a review. You've done this before, but you have to get fluent with this. And by fluent means you have to do this with no errors. You have to be able to do this with very little thought and very little work. It's just going to come easy to you. So let's start with some examples. We're going to do some straightforward examples before we get to the word problems later in the week. So let's start with our first example. Example number 1. 5x minus 8 equals 3x plus 12. Step 1, and you should have these down packed. You should have these memorized in your head. Step 1 is always looking for equations. We don't have any. Step 2, combine like terms. And by like terms, I mean like terms on the same side. I can't do anything on this side. I can't do anything on that side. Step 3, move the variable on one side, and that's what you're going to do today. Remember, I could take the 5x and move it to the other side. I could take the negative 8 and move it to the other side. I could take the 3x and move it to the left. I could take the plus 12 and move it to the left. But you have to do inverse operations, the opposite. So what I'm going to do in this problem is I'm going to move the 3x. The opposite of 3x is minus 3x minus 3x. That gives me 2x minus 8 equals 12. And now we have a basic two-step equation. I now have to get rid of the minus 8. The opposite of minus 8 is add 8 to both sides. That then gives me 2x equals 20. I divide both sides by 2. I get an answer of 10. If you wanted to check your answer, you could take the 10 and plug it in for x in your original equation and see if you get two sides that are true. Let's do example number 2. Example number 2. 6y minus 19 equals negative 14 plus 7y. Step 1. You got to get the letter on one side. I don't care if you want to move the 7y to the left and subtract 7y, or move the 6y to the right and subtract 6y. I am going to subtract 6y because this right here, a common mistake, people look, oh, that's a minus 6y. No, it's not. That minus goes with the 19. That minus has nothing to do with the 6y. So be careful. That's minus 19. I want to get rid of 6y, which means I subtract 6y, subtract 6y. I am now left with negative 19 equals negative 14 plus 1y. I now have to get rid of the negative 14. Now some people were like, oh, why can't you move the 19 over? Well, that doesn't do me any good because I want to get the y by itself. That's our goal. Remember, I want to get the y by itself, which means I want to get the negative 14 to the left. So I'm going to add 14, same signs, nope, different, yep, so we subtract them, take the sign of the bigger absolute value or the more negatives, so that'd be negative 5 equals y. Negative 5 equals y equals negative 5. Number 3, 13 minus n equals negative 7n. I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. Please, please be careful because this is a very easy mistake that you shouldn't make, but a lot of people do. Some people are like, well, negative 7n, that's smaller, so I want to move that to the left. Plus 7n, plus 7n. That's fine. You're then equal to 13. 7n and a negative 1n is 6n. Now, some people then like, oh, I'm done, I'm going to divide by 6. No. You can't put 13 equals 6n because this side now is 0. In order to get the n by itself, I have to subtract the 13. So that would give me 6n equals negative 13. Divide by 6. You have a fraction. That's okay. You get negative 13/6. The second way you can do this problem, I'll do that in green, is when I look at this, here's what I see. I see a number. I see a letter. I see a letter. If the number is here, I have no other numbers I have to move over to combine with it. So if the number is on the left, then I'm going to move my letters on the right. So I'm going to add 1n, That gives me 13 equals negative 7 plus 1, or negative 7n plus 1n, is negative 6n. Divide by negative 6. My answer is negative 13/6 equals n. No matter which way you do this, you get the same answer. Example number 4, our last example. 17x minus 1 equals negative 5x plus 2 plus 18x. Step 1, no parentheses, no problem. Step 2, combine like terms. Absolutely, do not ever start moving things across that equal sign until you've combined everything. That 17x minus 1, I can't do anything with that. But over on this side, I have an x term and another x term. I can combine them. Here's a mistake people do. People are like, oh, the opposite of minus 5x is plus 5x. So I'm going to add 5x to 18 and get 23. No. Don't do that, because the whole purpose of doing the opposite of minus 5x is to move it across the equal sign. Well, I don't want to move that. I'm just combining them together, so you don't have to do the opposite of anything. So all I do is just take 18x minus 5x, which will give me 13x plus 2. I now want to move the variable onto one side, so I'm going to subtract 13x, subtract 13x. That will now give me 4x minus 1 equals 2. I now am going to add 1 to both sides. 4x equals 3. Divide by 4. My answer is going to be 3/4 or 75 hundredths, or 0.75. There's your answer. Remember, combine like terms before you move anything across that equal sign. Key concept of the day: get the variables on both sides by doing the opposite. And don't move anything until you combine like terms.